Stargate Hellraiser here again, and it's time for a lot of spoilers. Now, you're going to be seeing a major spoiler on the MSQ here, right now. Major spoilers. Get out if you do not wish to be a part of this. Okay? But with the backing of this video, we're going to talk a little bit about the MSQ. Now, this is the main single-person instance of the MSQ, where your character is actually going to involve himself with the forces of Ishgard in a grand melee against parties from the three nations in a spectacle. It's a large-scale battle in which a unified company of the grand companies of the three nations go against Ishgard, and you're on the Ishgardian side. When a combat is incapacitated, you get a point. You get 1 point, and 100 points wins. But there's a catch. If a tether from the beginning of the base is put to one of your characters, that character's worth 10 points, but the character's much more difficult to defeat. So that could be very interesting. So defending and defeating the people are the key to winning this battle. Now you'll see a catch to this in a second, but as this begins, I want to start getting a little bit of some of my thoughts about the MSQ. I've said in a couple of the videos already, I believe it is now clear Hydaelyn will fall. The Warrior of Light is going to lose. And I think that it has become apparent in several parts of this story that Hydaelyn, either through her work in rebuilding through her work in rebuilding Eorzea, through trying to get the Warrior of Light et al. To get involved and succeed, is incredibly weak. And I don't think we have any idea of the strength of Zodiark yet. And I think it's pretty obvious and simple that if the dragons, or at least, spoiler, Nidhogg, the Ascians, and Zodiark ever get on the same page, it's all over and it ain't even going to be funny. I don't think it's going to be any degree of funny. I mean, this here is a really fun thing. I wish they would explore a little bit more of this, because this is a good, fun practice motif. I think it's far better than say the Hall of the Novice. It's a fun event, and it's too bad this is a one-time event. It really is. But I think it is clear after this story that Hydaelyn ain't going to make it. And I think it's also going to be pretty evident that I believe we are in for another calamity at the end of 3 acts. I would actually be very surprised if we don't end up with some sort of a cataclysm situation for 4.x. And I think it's going to have to be very careful on Square Enix's part as to how they're going to market this, especially starting in October in FanFest, when they probably are going to give the first real indication of what's going down. But it's for the first time, I think it's pretty clear that this whole situation is not going to end up in the favor of the good guys. The bad guys are going to win. It's kind of difficult to come to another conclusion when you take a look at the MSQ right now. I believe that when and again, I could be very wrong. I mean, Square Enix took a left turn in what I believe is a very unnecessary left turn with 255, when they basically did what I thought was a very interesting thing with the 255 storyline, but ended up in no uncertain terms coming in a very bad spot with what they did in 255. 5, and then they basically turn around during 3-0 and basically negate the whole thing. So, the battle rages on, 100 points wins, but as you'll see in a second, there's a little bit of a catch to that. But you take a realistic look at the status of this main storyline quest, and I think it is very hard for me to believe we don't have another Calamity basically of about the same level as the end of 1.x. But this time, the Eorzea we get dumped into is going to be one that is going to be basically under Zodiark. And as I said, if good gameplay is going to be the issue here, this is going to be what needs to be done. You can sit here and you can do all you want to do, but at some point in this process, it's very difficult for me to see how this situation goes any degree of any other way. If good gameplay is going to be, they're going to end up having to blow up the gameplay as it stands. Now we get to the trick of the fight. I'm at 83, the opposition's at 34. I mean, I'm going to win pretty easily, except for one problem. I get to 84, and I find the next tether. And basically what happens is I get that 10, I'm at 94. But the problem is now the Furious Gaze ends up on General Raban, and it ends up on me. Now, even though it's 93 to 34, now of course a Cyclops decides he wants to try to get in on the fight, and I'm surprised other parties didn't try to get in on this. That of course comes up later. Thancred's decided he's had enough of that bullshit, and, well, no. Take a seat, sit down, shut up. So he chases him off, but the fight continues, and it is now me and Raban with the Furious Gaze, and of course I'm at 94. I think the Allied forces were something about 40, so it really did kind of look like everything going on. So Ishgard tries to go after Raban, and Raban, even with one arm, wipes the board clean. Now even the comes in, and he's sent backwards. And Raban says, no. The Warrior of Light's mine. Everybody else out. And you get your boss fight of this thing. It's me and Raban. And I said before why I felt that good gameplay is going to be a very difficult thing for this this particular 3.2. You'll see it in this fight. This is not and this is a solo fight. There's no one to save you here. You might get some degree of healing, but if you watch what happens with these AoEs, you'll see why this is such. And so this boss fight begins, and it's just me and Raban at this point. And as I said, this is a fight that I don't think a lot of people are going to like, because they're not going to be able to be saved by their buddies here, and a lot of these people who can't deal with AoEs are going to have a real problem, because this is a very AoE-centric fight. You'll see what I'm talking about here in a second. You know, even that, and then of course that pops up. Whoops, at least I only got one of those, so I pop my second wind to get some of that damage back. You will get healing from the outside. You will get healing from the outside. But are you going to get enough to deal with the AoEs, especially when they get this chaotic? Notice what's also happening. At first I'm thinking, oh shit, the Alliance is basically wiping everybody out in the back. Really all that is just basically to ensure that the fight between you and Robon decides the Grand Melee. I thought it was a rage timer. I thought it was a rage timer. I really did. So anyway, this went on. This is going to continue to go on here. Now you get some of these complicated AoEs. It's just like, oh fun. Those black AoEs, those are fun in this fight. It's not. I just don't see how this fight's going to be manageable for somebody who just has been dicking their way through, to the end of 3-2. First off, I don't see how a lot of them are going to be able to clear the anti-tower, especially that second thing. Now, of course, you get a bit of a, and I don't realize it's still too late. That's actually a bit of a DPS check on those 4 Tizonas out there. And I don't realize, oh crap, it's too late. So I gotta kill those Tizonas. It's a DPS check. So I go out there and kill as many of them as I can. And I get 2 of them, maybe 3, and that's a big hit. If I hadn't noticed it by then, I was going to be dead, so I Mega Potion up, because I know it's a tight squeeze at this point. I missed that again. And again, it's these AoEs again, and I don't see how. And maybe they're just setting us up for, you know what? Or as you know it, it's not going to survive 3-point X. And a lot of that has to also do with something that comes after this fight that I'm not going to show you. You're going to have to clear 3.2 to find out. But I mean, it's ugly. It is ugly. It is bad. It is not pretty. But there it is. There's the end of the Grand Melee. Yes, I do successfully defeat Robon. I have more videos, but I just wanted to show you this and have a little discussion on the MSQ. I haven't even gotten to the fact of my gravest disappointment. It sounds like Minfilia's a goner. Starcade Hellraiser. See you soon. More 3.2.